What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG and I'm here with
NBEA.
And this episode is recapping American Crime Story, Assassination of Gianni Versace, episode 7, and it's called Ascent.
So last week was called Descent. This week is called Ascent.
The feminine uprising.
And why do you think that?
Because it shows, the whole episode was showing like the rise of two parallel characters, right? Donatella and Andrew.
Oh, right.
So that's why the way I saw it.
Whereas last week was like they're both kind of going down.
They're going down, but also it didn't really show Johnny that much.
Yeah.
At all, really. It just showed him falling down.
What did you think of the episode?
Okay, guys, we're struggling through the season
like
really hard.
as a bigger episode, like looking at the season as a whole, I didn't like the episode. But looking at the episode as like the last kind of 4 weeks, I liked it. Because I felt like this was the story that I wanted to see in the beginning with Andrew.
Yeah.
But like looking at it as a whole, as a season, I'm like, I still feel like I'm not getting my Gianni Versace storyline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So wait, you like it as an episode and not as
but like
a
not
part
like
of the show?
Exactly.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Because like I still feel like looking at the episode like chart coming up, there's like 2 more episodes left or whatever.
Right.
I still feel like there's so much Versace story to tell.
Yeah.
So as a season as a whole, I still feel like I want
There's
more,
yeah.
But as an episode of Andrew Cannon's life, like it was, I was interested in it because they did show a lot of the beginning part of his life, right? And how he got into the whole world. So that was interesting, but I feel like it's a bit late now in the season too. Like
I agree. We've been saying it from day 1, or no, like episode 2.
Well, like even last
3.
week we didn't even have a podcast. Like it was like a 10-minute podcast because we were so like we didn't have anything to talk about. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You know how I feel about this whole season. I just feel like they thought that they could do this backtrack, like storyline, and I just don't think it worked. I think to your point, you said I wanted to see this from time. I wanted to see this and then see that diner scene where David dies. Because like I keep going back into my brain when I see these moments. I'm like, oh, this is what he was talking about when he was like, oh, when we met for the first time.
Exactly.
In the hotel. And I'm like, but I don't feel some type of way about it anymore.
Think that is because we got to see that moment with David this episode. It was that really that like when Andrew kind of fell in love with him. So I get it. You're so right. I totally forgot about the diner scene because I'm like, that's when he's in that moment. He's telling him we had our moments.
That's what I keep
and to
going
me,
back
I'm like, I don't know your moments. I've never seen them. So like, I don't care at all about your history, your love, nothing.
Exactly.
I don't believe you. All I know is that you just killed Versace.
Right. Even the best actors in the world are not going to be able to portray that emotion, to be like, remember those times? Like, I wasn't supposed to feel that. So, and that's the thing. You're putting too much onus on your viewers to be like, but wait, we're going to show it to you.
I'm going to wait 8 weeks and then I'm going to feel some type of way. No,
man,
I totally even forgot about the diner scene.
Season. Come on, stop.
I totally forgot about that scene.
Like, that's what I'm trying to say. They really in my opinion, I think they totally fucked up on this, the way they told the story.
Yeah.
If they did it chronologically, it might have been a completely different situation.
Or you backtrack, but you backtrack to certain times. Like maybe when you backtracked, you should have just jumped to this episode to show him when he left his mom, how crazy his mom was, how he met the rich guys. Like start off with that backtrack maybe, and then sort of work your way up to David and then like him moving on. So like, but we got it jumped even further ahead into his life, and then now it's going back. Like it's too much time jumping. Like it's too much.
And a part of me feels because the story that they're telling is so far removed from the actual murder of Gianni Versace, which is, by the way, once again, I feel like we have to remind ourselves every single time that the show, season show, is called The Assassination of Gianni Versace. Right. Okay? So
the branding, the marketing, everything is centered around Versace's death.
Right.
Does the show feel like it is? Not really. No. It's like it should have been called like The Life and Times of like Andrew Cunanan. Seriously.
Exactly.
No, seriously.
The life and death of Andrew Cunanan.
Because it's not Versace. They're throwing in Versace and it feels like a little cheap on their part, I have to say.
Yeah.
They're throwing in like a little Donatella here and there and you're like, ooh, but then it's really not about their story.
I agree. I 100% agree.
It's totally about him.
Yeah. And I've said it too, like, I don't like the fact that they're trying to humanize his character because I don't care about a person who's murdered 5 people. I don't. This is like me watching a Jeffrey Dahmer storyline. Like, I don't there's a reason why I don't like those stories, because they're cruel and like sad, and I don't need to get into the mind of a murderer.
And aside from even the Versace perspective, like, you guys started off this season with the Versace world, but also the police investigation behind all this, the whole murder, right? And how the police have sort of, there's holes along the way.
Yeah.
Where are the police? You guys have not showed 100%. The police in like 6 weeks. Like, what happened to that storyline? And if you compare this season to the season with O.J. Simpson, like, you know, a lot of the things that they covered off in that season were based in truth, because they were about the court case. They were about like facts. And I guess in that moment you're not second guessing anything because they're all based in truth.
Yeah.
But this one, guys, it's all like hearsay. You don't even know if these conversations legit happened between, you know, Andrew and the boyfriend, Andrew and David. Like, everyone's dead. So we don't even know if this shit happened.
How do you even know?
Let alone like what was even said in these moments.
Right. So you have to suspend a lot of your belief.
It makes you feel some type of way too. Yeah. Like, I'm like, okay, but how fake is this?
Right.
Like, did this actually happen?
Yeah.
You're making me feel some type of way, even though it might not be true.
Seriously, I feel like if I re-listen to all of our podcasts this episode, I feel like, or like this season, it's all like, but is this real? But is this
at
real?
least in the beginning, we were kind of hopeful that like it would change at some point, and here we are like going into episode 8, and like now it's like nothing has changed. For like 5 weeks now we've been with Andrew mostly. So I don't know, guys. I'm curious to hear what other people have to say. I was struggling with this. I really was, because, you know, as a podcaster, as someone who's like putting out this review, I really want to see the other side, and I really want to like try to argue the other side. And the only thing I can think of is the other side is, we didn't want to do a classic storyline. We wanted you to feel gagged the entire time and feel like surprised by the way we were telling the story. Because the way that we're expecting to hear the story is a typical like point A to point B storyline. I wanted to see the breakdown of the murder, and the fact that there was going to be a lot of holes in the investigation, and this and this. Instead, we're getting a backtrack storyline, and we're focusing on Andrew Cunanan instead of the murder. And, you know, like, we're not getting, so the other side could argue like, oh, but you're just upset because you're not getting what you expected to get from the season. Yeah, that's probably true. But I don't think that the way you're telling, like, I feel like this, like, Ryan Murphy added too many elements to this season to be like, yo, this is different from anything we've ever done. Like, I don't know if it's the right thing to have done. I honestly feel like something happened along the way, whether it was like in production or whether it was like when he was writing the season.
Yeah.
I feel like he went into this season having one kind of story. And then I honestly feel like somewhere along the line it switched to all about Andrew. Whether or not, you know, the actors maybe they weren't down to film all those scenes, like what's her name, Penelope and Edgar, like maybe they were like, no, our schedules are too busy, we can't be in every episode, and he shifted it to Andrew's. Like, I honestly feel like something happened, because I feel like when Ryan Murphy had this vision for this season, and I could be obviously totally wrong, I just feel like it's about Versace. It's about Versace. I'm sorry, it's not about the 5 other men that he killed. Yes, I appreciated those little glimpses of that, but now it's like a whole biopic on Andrew Cunanan. Like, it doesn't feel like a Versace story at all.
Not at all.
Versace just feels like another man's that he killed, like, along the way.
Yeah.
So I really, really feel like somewhere along the line in the production, like, timeline, something went off.
Like,
and
this
wasn't supposed to be what it is.
Like, that's
now.
the problem. I feel like every episode now we're putting more stock into the next episode. So now my mind is like, oh, I can't wait for the season finale.
Okay,
because maybe like it'll all tie itself
up.
It's
so true.
And if it doesn't tie itself up, bitch, you know I'm going to be coming in for this fucking season finale and getting really upset about it. Because if they don't really, like, here's the thing. I think the undertone, especially in this season or in this episode, showing this, like, Ascent and like the parallel worlds, because he's done it before this season with like Johnny and Andrew, like doing these parallel storylines. I think it was like the interview, right?
But he didn't. It wasn't even Andrew's. It was the other guy's story. Right. See, like,
you're right. But like he parallels the storylines. But like that's the thing. Like, what is your message? What is your final message? And that's what I always care about when it comes to this season of any show, or what is the meaning behind this? Are you telling, like, is your like storyline A, you're telling me that Andrew was a product of his environment? Are you telling me B, he was an actual sociopath psycho? Are you telling me, like, C, like Gianni Versace was just like a bad, you know, like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. What are you telling me?
I think they're telling
what
you,
are you telling
to
me?
believe whatever you want to believe. But that's not what I signed up for. I signed up for a Gianni Versace assassination story. That's what I signed up for.
That's
the thing.
I agree.
Like, he's probably telling you guys, you interpret it however you want to interpret it, whether it's he was born this way or his mom made him, whatever.
Right.
But I don't give a shit about him. That's not the point of the season.
Yeah.
The point of the season was Gianni Versace.
And like that's the thing.
That's what
I feel
it
like
is.
maybe if he twisted
I don't care about him.
And I think that's a real big cop out, because you're right. If he was like, yo, the Gianni Versace assassination was like the biggest part of this story, but he killed 5 other people beforehand, and we're gonna focus only on those stories for like more than half of the season, then you should have told me that from the get-go.
Yeah.
And you should have called
and
this
maybe, yes,
American
exactly.
Crime Story Season 2.
How to Get Away with Murder,
or
like whatever, something.
Like it
just felt very. It feels very like like trickster to like title this as like a Gianni Versace assassination story, and like it's not that.
You see, like, and it's funny because like whenever you see the thumbnails for when you're about to watch it, it's always like the one shot of Johnny and like Donatella, and then so you're like, oh sick, it's gonna be them again, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, it was 10 minutes amalgamated and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, don't lie to me. The marketing is so unreal. Yeah. It's so bullshit, man. It makes me really upset talking about it more and more.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyway,
But guys, honestly, if you feel the same way or if you don't feel the same way, I want to hear about your opinions.
Legit.
So
I think
tweet us at recap_rewind. Let us know what you guys are thinking, because I know we're drinking the haterade right now.
Yeah.
But I honestly want to hear the other perspective, because I want to understand if people are liking it and are appreciating the story.
And why. And tell us why. Like, I really want to know, because, you know, we've said it before, and we do love a lot of the stuff that Ryan Murphy's produced. This show is beautiful to watch. You know, NB's been talking about the music. The music was so on point this season.
I love the music.
There are a lot of elements to the show. High production value. The acting's great. But the way the story is told and the story that's being told is just not what I signed up for. That's all.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, if I honestly think that, like, if I look back on this and it was wrapped a different way, I, number one, wouldn't have felt like I had to like watch the entire damn season, and 2, like, would have prepared myself a little bit more to get to know, to be okay with what I was about to watch. You know, instead now every episode I'm like, are we gonna see more Johnny? Are we gonna see more Johnny?
Yeah.
Are we gonna see more?
Like, I had watched it before JLAG, and he looks at me. He's like, "Am I gonna see Versace this week though?" And I'm like, "No."
I'm like, so yeah, like I just feel like pretty. Like, and it sets you up for a lot of disappointment. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, guys. I think we're gonna do our roundups now.
Yeah, and then we'll just talk about like the highlights of the episode. Really.
Recap roundups.
Best moment.
So, what was your best moment?
So I had trouble with my best moment, because obviously.
Yeah. For good reason.
Yeah. But I think my best moment was the part where I think it's towards the end. And I think it's right after that the boyfriend Lincoln is murdered, and who's the boyfriend, like the now boyfriend, like the old guy.
I forget his name now.
The guy that played Selma Roberts' dad in the OC.
Right.
Him.
Yeah.
So he's basically in the theater, and then like Andrew comes and he's like, I have like a plaque for like Lincoln, whatever. This was my favorite moment because it seemed like literally Andrew was the most real he's ever been this season in that one moment, because he was talking about like he was how the man was murdered, and basically how the guy got away with it for killing a gay man, because like they were both, and the older man is like, this has been my life forever, for years now, like you're just learning this now. He's saying it to Andrew, and Andrew felt just as like passionate about it too. He was like, he got murdered, like, and I'm like listening to him, I'm like, this is the realest he's ever been, like you can see his passion and like just the real Andrew coming out in this moment, right?
I mean, I feel
he wasn't lying, or he wasn't trying to put on a show or anything in that one moment.
I feel like we have seen little moments where he does like talk about the real issues of the LGBT community in that time in the past. But yeah, you're right. In this,
but when he talks about it, he like puts on a show. those couple of times when he spoke to that girl, he was acting like he wasn't gay.
But I still feel like he's putting on a show, no matter what.
I don't know.
Like
in that moment, it sounded very real. It
That's
just
fair.
sounded real.
That's fair, and it was a good moment to hear, just quotably, like to hear it said out loud.
Do you think they try to humanize him by giving him that storyline?
That's what I'm saying, MB. Like, that is my biggest frustration, is the fact that
they're like, see, look, he was still like
That's
struggling.
what I'm
He was a
saying.
gay man in the 90s.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but
that's what I'm saying.
no, he's a murderer.
You killed 5 people. Nothing is what you do. If anything, it makes me fucking embarrassed to be associated with him in any way as being a gay man. Like, are you trying to say that like everybody has a reason as why they kill 5 people? Like, why are you giving him a reason? Why are you giving him a way
like
out?
Society like shunned him so much that like he killed people.
It's unfair.
No, like
it's
I don't
so
know what they're trying to do with
unfair.
that.
Like, that's what I'm trying to say.
And it feels very like they've very focused on it a lot.
Right.
Like
that's
if they were like he was gay and that was it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like they focused on that whole theme a lot this season. And it's been amazing for the other characters to see their stories. But like, I don't want this to be like, oh, like look what he was living, this poor guy, and then
like,
he killed 5 people.
He stumbled upon these murders. He literally followed somebody home and shot them in their basement. And like, you're telling me that it's just because of it, he was a creature of his own environment? Give me a fucking break. No, I don't think it's fair. I think it's a disservice to the people who are actually murdered by telling this story. And that's what's frustrating the most about the way this story is being told and the focus of this whole season. Is I said it from the get-go, if you're gonna be focusing on a murderer, show me his murders, fine. Show me the people that he fucked over, sure. But don't let me feel like I see him in a bar crying at one moment. I see him like telling some real moments in some of these things. I don't care. He was a murderer, period, statement. I don't care if he has a tragic backstory. I don't care. Yeah. Because there's some serial murderers who don't have a tragic backstory.
They're just killers.
And they're just killers. So giving him a backstory and giving him a reason as to why he did it, to me, it's like any murder, like real life, like biopic murder story you've ever seen, when they're like, oh, but that's why he did it. Mm-hmm. You know, that whole like thing that happened with like Carla Homolka and whatever, you know, it's humanizing them. It's making them feel like, oh, they had an out though. Like they were just like, they just did it because like they were in a situation. Yeah. He wasn't in no situation. No. He literally went straight up to Gianni Versace in the broad daylight and shot him dead. Mm-hmm. What did he do to you? Because he was shunned by the LGBT community?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what they're trying to say, is that like somehow Versace was like a shining light in that community and was like a hero for coming out. Okay. But like, whereas Andrew felt like he had to hide himself his whole life. Right. That's why he killed Gianni Versace.
And so that's why you wanted to focus on that.
Yeah.
So why did OJ?
But you don't know that.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, you don't know that. Then you could have done OJ's season as like a jealous man, like who like wants to like kill his wife. Like you should have done that then. But you didn't. You folled the court case. Yeah. This is what American crime story is about. You're following the law and how they're dealing with this case or these murders. Like not about this guy.
I didn't want to hear the story. I didn't want to hear it.
See, everything leads back to that.
Yeah. So my best moment. There's gonna be like really fun music behind all this. So it's like my best moment goes to Johnny and Donatella when they're making the dress. Yeah. I thought it was a really nice moment to see. Like
I love that moment. Yeah.
I love these moments, and I was telling NBEA as I was watching it, I'm like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted the entire 7 damn episodes. Like, I know it looks boring. I know it sounds stupid.
Yeah, like I don't think you would have wanted it the whole time, but I think more. We wanted more.
So seeing these moments, I'm just like, I wanted to see the way these like guys worked. When I heard the Assassination of Gianni Versace,
like they should have done his childhood.
Yeah,
how he became a designer and how he came to Miami and when he bought the mansion and how he changed. Like that's the story. And then this guy comes and rips that apart.
Exactly.
What a story that would have been. Thanks, now I'm like talking about this guy. Like here, like
why don't you?
I don't care about him. He a killer.
He a killer.
WTF moment. My WTF moment goes to, and I'm sure maybe this is yours too. It's when Andrew walks into like the hotel room and he sees Lincoln basically get murdered by someone else. Right. What the F?
That was mine.
I can't believe that actually happened. I was so shocked. I'm like, for a moment I was like, is he imagining that he's seen
He's
someone
there,
or like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
him killing
Or it's him
him.
killing him,
But
yeah.
no, like he legit saw another guy kill a man.
Like here we are thinking that like Andrew's the only person who's like involved in murders, but he's also involved in this murder. But also, like, how do we know that for sure? We don't know that for sure.
Well, there must have been like documents and stuff. There must have been reports.
I mean, maybe like we know that he admits to murdering him. This like random drifter guy. He admits to killing Lincoln, but maybe he doesn't say like, oh yeah, but Andrew Cunanan was like sitting in the corner. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, true.
Or maybe they do. I don't fucking know. I don't believe this story anymore. I don't
Wait,
believe any
guys,
of it.
hold on. Okay, Summer Roberts' dad from the OC. Is he? He's not dead. He's alive, right?
Now he's alive.
He never killed that guy.
I mean, I don't know if he's now alive still.
Well,
2017,
yeah, but he didn't kill him. So maybe he had told him that.
Maybe.
He's like, I saw him or something. Oh, no, he didn't tell him that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He
That's
didn't
true.
say it. He didn't say it to him. He was like, oh, I read it in the
Yeah,
news
so how would they
reports.
know that?
That's what I'm saying. You see these moments and like, how can they even
Unless
be
he
a
told the
WTF
mom or
moment?
something that like, I saw that happen. Who knows?
Or maybe the
I
guy
feel
who's
like it
now
must-
in jail, he was like, oh yeah, but
Yeah.
like, as I was leaving the house, he was there.
I feel like maybe when they caught Andrew or Andrew like shot himself, that guy probably said it.
Right.
He's like, yo, he saw me
because that's a
watch him
significant moment. That is significant.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they could make that up. That's a huge moment.
Yeah.
They can't make that up.
Or can they?
We'll have to do some research.
I hate doing research for shows, man.
Especially one that's like almost gonna end.
Exactly.
MVP. My MVP, and I know you guys are gonna hate me for this.
Oh God.
I'm gonna give it to Andrew
Oh,
in this episode because homeboy literally, like, as much as he's crazy, like he had a good, like he set up a really good life for himself. He did. At the end of the episode, he convinced that guy, the old man, to like give him a house, decorate the house, buy himself furniture.
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, you just got a sick life right now.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta go mess it up?
Yeah. You know, I was like this close to making him my MVP too, to be completely
Yeah,
honest.
and like
because they really glowed him up.
they did,
glowed him the fuck
and
up
like
and
they were like,
showed.
Andrew is such a smart, and I loved how they showed the beginning of like where he meets the older men,
Right.
because he is so charming.
Right.
He finally was. Like all along when they've showed Andrew in these clubs meeting these people, he still sounds crazy. I'm like, guys, he sounds crazy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how he's like
Hello?
sexy to you guys.
Yeah.
But this episode when he met that older man, I was like, oh, like he does sound really charming. He's very
Yeah.
smart. Like I was buying into it.
Right,
And I was like
right.
very impressed. But obviously
Yeah.
I know he's crazy now. But like that was the first time too where I was like really impressed by him and how he tricked those men, right?
That's true. Yeah. I agree with you. But my MVP of the episode is Donatella.
Yeah.
Because I liked her storyline in parallel.
Yeah.
It
I
showed
love
glowing
her.
up.
I
just
wish
feel
they
like
showed more of her.
That's what I'm saying. It was really cool seeing because like this season or no, this part of the episode focuses on the fact that he was like dying or whatever.
So did he really have ear cancer?
I guess yeah. There's reports. I Wikipedia or whatever. I don't think it was ever fully confirmed because he recovered, right?
True.
So he was like feeling good, or maybe he had good and bad days. Who knows? Like, life is weird.
I just love that moment too when he did the leather dress. She's like, Johnny, no one's gonna wear this. She's like, no one's gonna wear it to
who's gonna
work.
wear that?
She's like, why not? She's like, it has leather straps on it. Like, no one's gonna come to work with leather straps on.
He's like, but it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, for a museum, like relax. So yeah, I like the way that she kind of glowed up in like at the very end where she takes the helm and is like, I'm gonna be like the new person in charge.
So apparently Donatella's insisting that he had ear cancer and not HIV.
Okay.
So I bet you in the show they had to throw both of those things in there.
Right.
So that, you know what I mean?
Well, in the beginning we asked the same question.
Yeah.
When we first
But the
saw
ear
her,
cancer
like,
never
what was
came
he
up
saying?
before.
I did say that it was like something different.
It was different, but not ear cancer. Such a detailed thing to
Yeah,
have.
it's very
But
true.
now I guess they're saying that because she reported that.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe?
because it's a big thing to say,
Yeah.
right? To make that assumption, and
Yeah.
even the police, like even during the investigation, you know, they're like, "Oh, it's so like typical of you guys to be like sick or whatever." You know what I mean?
Oh, is that what he said?
No, it's not.
Oh.
I'm lying. I'm fake news, just like the show. Who's your LVP?
LVP.
My LVP goes to Ricky Martin.
Yes. He literally was so useless. He was like hanging on the bookshelf the whole time.
He was just like staring into the distance
So useless.
while like they were having an argument. And I guess at the very end of the argument, he was like, "Go apologize to her." But otherwise, he like was useless in that moment. Like he didn't step in. He's just like sitting there like a little bitch. Like I'm like, Did you just hire Ricky Martin to wear a Versace shirt and
Yeah.
stand in the corner?
Yeah,
Like, is
seriously.
that all you guys asked him to do?
Also, I know we saw his mom. Like, my LVP can probably go to maybe his mom a little bit, because I
Right.
think we saw her last week for like a second.
Yeah.
But this week we definitely got a bigger glimpse of her, and like she's definitely Looney Tunes. Like, she definitely has something wrong with her. She's not normal. She's not okay. And she obviously can't even see that her son has like mental issues as well.
Crazy.
Because if she was somewhat normal, she could alert the cops, or she could, send him to a doctor or something.
Right.
Like something where she reports, like, my son is a little crazy. Like, nothing. Like, she's just as crazy. The best line. My best line goes to that the pimp girl. I love that scene, by the way,
Yeah,
too,
that was cool.
because he was trying to sell himself to her and kind of be a gigolo, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting scene too, because she does talk about how she goes, it doesn't matter how hard you want to work. Like, at the end of the day, if my clients want you or they don't, and Asian men are not like desirable right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
They're never desirable.
And that was interesting too for him to hear that. Like,
Yeah.
everything that he's been like hearing is kind of going into his psyche and his attitude and shit. But
Right.
you're right. Like, it doesn't justify what he did.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like it's an unfortunate story to give to Andrew. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the story of the downtrodden man in this world in the 90s, feeling some type of way and feeling like he's outcast and all this other stuff. I get it. I do love
You're
that
so
story.
right. It could have been
I just
on
don't
Johnny
think
more.
it should have been his story.
Like, Johnny's could have been more of that too.
But I guess it wasn't Johnny's, because Johnny got everything he
No,
wanted.
but I'm sure he worked a little bit too. Like, guys, I'm
Right.
sure somewhere along the line, like, Johnny had to work his ass off for
But also
something.
he came from a place like Europe where like being gay and
but-
being free is probably
But
so
even
different,
seeing that
right?
story would have been interesting too.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
sure. Or
That's true.
contrasting them more, but they are contrasting, but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's definitely not enough.
And like I said, I never wanted to give that. I don't want to hear that story for a murderer.
Yeah, you're right, you're
I didn't
right.
want to hear it.
But yeah, my best line from that scene, she goes, "I can't sell a clever Filipino, even one with a big dick."
Dick.
I love that. And he's like, "Fine, I'm gonna go sell myself then."
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
you're crazy.
Yeah.
But he still got the man, so.
Still got the mans. My line goes to, I love that you chose all like the Andrew story and I chose
Yeah,
all
because
of-
I knew that you're gonna choose all the
Okay.
Versace stuff for the other side.
Mine is like in the very beginning with Donatella and Johnny, and I always choose all the cheesy lines. His is this dress is not my legacy, you are.
Aww,
then
their
she's
scenes
like,
were really cute. When
"It's
when she
such
sat on his
cute."
lap, I was like, oh, that's so cute.
Like brother sister love.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy. Makes me love my sibs. Yeah. So that's the episode. What are you expecting or hoping for? Should we just like?
I
shut
have
our
no
mouths
idea at this point,
Just,
because
like,
at
keep
this
our
point
mouths
I don't
shut
know what
and-
they're gonna do. Yeah, like I'm definitely gonna watch to the end because
Yeah.
I feel like we're definitely invested at this point.
Yeah.
But
So unfortunate,
so
but
far
yeah.
it's been disappointing. So I don't know how they're gonna. It's
Turn it
true.
around, yeah.
It's true. I
And that's
wanted
the
more
thing.
of that Versace
I really,
world.
really wish that it wasn't disappointing. If they didn't,
Dude, we
frame
were
it the way they
waiting,
framed
guys.
it,
We were waiting for this season for like 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
since OJ, when Ryan
Oh,
Murphy
yeah,
said
yeah.
like he was like developing this season, we were
I'm
like so excited.
And now it's like,
Yeah, it's like
I really was hoping this to be amazing, and it wasn't.
that's what it sounds like.
All right, guys, please let us know what you guys think about the season. Make sure that you like and comment on this video, but also engage with us on Twitter at recap_rewind. Also check out the other shows that we're reviewing right now. And
let us know if there's a show that you guys want us to review.
yeah, because this show's about to
Because
end.
it's gonna end soon. So
And-
we down for another show.
We down for another show, and we down for something that's like not as shit as this show.
Yeah.
So just like let us know. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.